You heard Lloyd Cole talking about his new single. Sure, it could be a ballad story, or it could be a discarded script, Cole says of the song. It could be a VR game the protagonist is immersed in. It could be happening. It could happen, but maybe it isn't. Maybe it won't. Fucking wank song shit. No, listen. I'm not here to give Lloyd Cole a hard time. Somebody, he tweeted that he had a new single. Somebody replied to him, like, tagging me, and said, "Oh, you're going to do a review of Lloyd Cole's single?" He replied to that, also replying to me, saying, "Not funny." Again, for the 1,000th time, I didn't ask to review the book. I was tasked. I was not tasked with. I was assigned it. Aye, right. So that's it. So he's obviously been told about a thousand times. But Lloyd, you didn't have to be so rude and nasty. You know, just saying, just because someone's been, just because someone's asked you, to write a book, your life story, doesn't mean you should. And he had a wee laugh when he said it. Unlike him, somebody's actually got something interesting to say. Fucking that's not, by the way, that wasn't a threat. That was I'm getting twitchies because of the fucking stress of this. Fucking hell, man. Jesus. It's kind of like, I feel like somebody's attacking. It's not so much a twitch. I feel like somebody's attacking me. See, I grew up in a very tough council estate on the south side of Glasgow, and I have this kind of instant feeling that somebody's coming to me. See, if I feel like somebody's criticised me too much, I feel that I'm also going to get a punch in the back of my head or something like that. Like that. Like fucking ducking out the way, because it could be a knife, like, coming for my head. I've went like that. It's not something that perhaps he would know or have experienced in his life. Neither the host of that book review thing, who I looked him up and they went to some very important, high-flying private school in Paris. The one who said my book is full of kind of like grotesque sort of violence, not just about other people, but also me to myself, and found that to be, what was it? Disgusting or something like that, I don't know. But listen, everybody is entitled to. Jamie says she's all right, huh? Well, what she said proved that she's no. Everybody's entitled to no like me. I didn't listen to the review and hear Lloyd Cole say that he didn't like me and that he found me utterly without charm. Obviously, there's a party that doesn't like to hear that a person somewhere doesn't like you, perhaps. But he seemed to revel in it. He seemed to really revel in it. And he really revelled in it. See when he said, I mean, there is a certain brightness. He kind of said something and then corrected it, changed it to what he felt was a better sentence, which is, there is, has an intelligence of a certain kind. And I will never forget that. I will never forget that. Intelligence of a certain kind. I'll never forget that. It was brilliant. It was very funny. I mean, it's obviously a wee bit hurtful in a way. You feel a wee bit, stupid and shite and uninteresting and no a nice person. But then you get at it within about 15 seconds and you go, this'll be I'm getting this fucking tweeted, this is a cracker. Intelligence of a certain kind is just so... I just thought, what? Unlike your intelligence, Lloyd. Unlike yours. Authentic, real, full-bodied intelligence. I've got intelligence of a certain kind. See, it's no really Lloyd Cole himself. It's no really him. It's people like him talking about or thinking about people like me. There's a personal side to it where I'm just like, somebody's basically just called me stupid. Somebody who feels that they're really intelligent has basically called me not as clever as them. And there's a wee childish part of me that's like, you fucking cunt. But then it gets more into something, I don't know, a deeper thing that I've kind of experienced and seen and heard, and where you got somebody like him and the way he speaks, articulate or well read or things like that, and possibly even, I don't know, more intelligent in some way, in a certain way, talking about somebody like me and the way that I come across and the way I form my thoughts and the way I basically think. They say intelligence of a certain kind. There's just something about it. I don't know, mate. I mean, it's not as if I myself have never described somebody else as fucking stupid. I bet a daft cunt. But there's just something, I don't know, is it his face? Is it his face that makes it worse? Could be his face. You know, that it's just that constant serious face. Like he's just so exhausted by all of this. And you know what the funny thing is? He said about me, I've got intelligence of a certain kind, right? Meaning I'm stupid. And yet, here's the funny thing about people like him, or just people in general who might be clever or articulate or, I don't know, knowledgeable in some sort of way. You put them in another situation and they're fucking clueless. Like, see the person who tagged me. See the person when Lloyd Cole, I don't know, he said he had a new single or something like that, and then tagged me saying, "Oh, you got to do a review of Lloyd Cole's song." Lloyd Cole. It's funny we talk about Lloyd Cole because I remember the cunt in the fucking 80s. Seen him on Top of the Pops and all the rest of it. Lloyd Cole hasn't he got the, I don't know, the intelligence or the, I don't know, the fucking perception to know that this is somebody that's obviously on the wind up. This is somebody who doesn't care about Lloyd Cole. It's somebody having a laugh and, you know, pushing some fucking buttons. And yet he's replying with not funny. Like he doesn't know, the person who is tweeting you doesn't give a fuck if you don't think it's funny. In fact, he likes that you don't find it funny. You saying that you don't find it funny is funny. And Lloyd Cole isn't thinking, he doesn't get that. He doesn't get that. So you're like, it's funny. I really don't think he gets that. Not funny. Like, that's not a pal. That's not one of your fucking pals. Saying, oh, ha ha ha. And you're like, no, that's not funny. Listen, I didn't want to fucking review that book. I didn't ask to review that book. No, it's a fucking stranger on the internet who's probably a fucking troll of some kind, or just on the wind up like, don't give a fuck about you. Don't give a fuck about fucking Lloyd Cole. Don't give a fuck about me. They're just going about their business going, ha 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 ha, like that. And they go like that, not funny. It shows, and I'm not just saying this back because he called me a bit daft, so I'm calling him daft. Maybe but it shows a fucking lack of intelligence to say not funny like the person cares. That's why they're fucking saying it. They're saying it because they'll know that you don't find that funny. How can you not know that? How can you not fucking know that? So, it's funny how we've all got different types of fucking intelligence. We've all got different intelligence, levels of intelligence or types of intelligence of a certain kind. You got cunts like me who, I don't know, I'm a bit daft in terms of my ability to work things out and the speed that I learn things and various other stupid fucking things. Various daft ways I'm working out what somebody meant by a thing, or I don't know, a puzzle game, or having to phone something up and listen to somebody and know what the fuck they're on about. Things like that. And you got other people who are, I don't know, intelligent in the sense that they can write a couple of decent songs 30, 40 years ago with the help of some others. You got that kind of intelligence. Or, you know, you're good at like reading various books and then sort of like acquiring the vocabulary and the phrasing and the way of looking at things and kind of reordering the words and the thoughts and all that back into some sort of song, or the way that you conduct yourself, and feeling that you've got the, you know, the backing or the sort of history and knowledge behind you because you're so well read, and you feel, I don't know, you feel like you know what you're talking about. Somebody could say, oh, this thing's never happened before, and you could go, well, actually in 1812 there was the uprising of the, you know, you could sort of come up with that, and it makes you feel, you know, quite intelligent and knowledgeable. Yet when somebody tweets you saying, let me go do a review, you go like that, not funny. Like, you don't get that person, like you've not got that. Because that's not in a book. You're not going to find that in some dusty library somewhere. That's intelligence. I mean, that's just common sense, is it not? Is it not just common sense, that? It's not even street smart. It's not even like fucking street smart. Like, there's the guy went like that, you know, in the shop here. I'm wondering here, I can sell you something here. You know. You're like, oh right, oh god, I trusted that person. I was fucking stupid. It's like, do you mean not funny? Of course, it's fucking not funny. That's what's funny about it. That you don't find it funny. I don't know. And then there's that wee feeling that sense of the desire for fucking justice. The desire, this universal sense of justice where see somebody who's like a fucking smart arse and they maybe look down at somebody else because they've got intelligence of a certain kind. Whereas they've got the real deal intelligence. And then you spot something where they've got a bit of shortcoming in terms of their intelligence or perception or social things or whatever the fuck it is, and you want to right that fucking wrong, or you want to, I don't know, avenge yourself or redeem yourself in some sort of way, or you want to show, you see, I'm actually kind of clever and you're actually stupid, when in fact, when earlier you said that I was the stupid one, it turns out you're the stupid one. There's the kind of desire to do that. And it just takes me back, that Lloyd Cole stuff. I know it's a joke, I'm talking about Lloyd fucking Cole. But it takes me back to when I was like fucking late teens. I remember these cunts in Millport went back to this caravan and there was this sort of arrogant way to them. There was an arrogant way to them. I remember the way they spoke. They thought they were kind of it. I remember. I've told this sport stop. I'm not going to go right into it, but I remember that I bumped into a cunt fucking years later. Didn't like them. I didn't like them. I don't know if I feel threatened by people like that, or I just think, I don't know, ashamed of myself for ever looking up to or wanting to be somebody like that, or kind of like, I suppose I better start reading lots of books and get clever on that. I don't really read a lot of books, maybe I should. It just reminds me of various people. Caravan arrogance is the worst. No, I had a caravan. Caravans in Millport were quite common. To get more cleverer, I fucking remember that. I'm just having a kind of flash, I'm reminiscing about this fucking thing. This is nothing to do with fucking, nothing to do with Lloyd Cole. I've told this story before, right? It's nothing to do with Lloyd Cole, but I remember years ago, maybe late teens or something like that, I was in Millport, and I went up to this caravan. There was a guy that I knew, and there was a few of them. We went up, and they were like, where are they from? Kind of Greenock, Guruk or somewhere. I think their mods and dads were like, had a bit of money or something like that, or maybe they didn't. Maybe they just spoke in a kind of voice like that. I don't know, but I remember, I don't know, they're coming out with smart arsey things. It wasn't towards me or anything like that. They seemed kind of fucking alright, but I remember picking up a book. What was the book that I picked up? That book's in the caravan. I was reading it. I was having a look at it. It was like body. It was a book. I think it was made into a film by Martin Sheen. It was like no Coma, might be Coma or something like that, right? And I was like, oh, I think I've seen that like video cover or something in a shop. It just looked familiar. He said, oh, you could take it if you want. I said, oh, I don't really read that much. And he's like, oh, you should. Honestly, say when you read, you just feel like your intelligence, like it's top, like you feel your mind expanding or something like that. I was like, oh, right, aye, maybe I should. And this cunt's about the same age as me, maybe even like a year younger. And I'm like, oh, right, aye, well, maybe I will. And I don't know, that was kind of that, right? And then, what was it? I remember about, I don't know, I think because, see, I was a bit younger. Didn't have a lot of money. My mum and dad didn't have a lot of money. And there was some other boys that went down to Millport, for Greenock or Guruk. Thingy's dad's loaded. Thingy's mum and dad's loaded and all that. And some of the clothes they wore, they had like one had like an Armand Bassey, I don't know if that's the name, Armand Bassey jumper that cost like fucking 200 quid or something like that. It's like, just had this feeling they're richer, they've got lots of money, mum and dad's got money, they're better educated and things like that. Also their voices, their accents and stuff like that, right? I don't know, kind of inferiority complex type of thing. And then I went up to one of the caravans a couple of years later and just chatting and that thing happened. Anyway, I remember, I don't know, a few years later when I was maybe about 22, I think it was, there was I've told this story before, like, it's not that fucking interesting, but I was seeing this last at the time for just like a week or two, and she was black, and we're in Sucky Hall Street in, what was it, Red, an upstairs pub or bar or something like that, right? And we were up there during the week, and it was like a kind of, it wasn't like a club sort of night, it was a wee bit, right? And there was a DJ DJing, and the DJ was black. And the last I was saying, she had went to the toilet, she was away from me for a bit, right? And then I bumped into that guy who said, oh, you should read books. You should read books, just expand your mind, you should, you know, like that cunt. And I bumped into him, and I was like, all right. And within about fucking 10 seconds, I don't know, he said something today with like the pub, the club or something like that, right? And he looked to the DJ, and I can't remember what he said, but it was something to do with the fact that he was black. Some sort of either like racist or sort of like racial sort of comment. Something to do with the fact the DJ was black. Something like that. It wasn't like an out and out fucking hateful thing, but it was like, it was fucking racist to some fucking degree. I went, all right. And then, I don't know. I can't remember what the fuck it was, right? Don't repeat it. I'm not going to fucking repeat it, and I'll decide if I'll repeat it or no, Veritas. This is my stream, and I'm not going to repeat it. Don't fucking repeat it. You're on my fucking mods? I'm not going to repeat it because I can't actually remember anyway, right? But it was just it was like a wee remark or something like that. And then last I was saying, she came back while he was there, and he was like that. I went, oh, this is the thingy, right? And I could see in his fucking face that he knew what he'd done and how he looked. And I remember thinking, and maybe I shouldn't have been putting the matching this or relating this in any way to that sort of the way that they were when I was a bit younger in the caravan and the book thing. I know you could go like, what the fuck have books got to do with this? But I remember thinking, isn't it funny that a couple of years ago or something, and you were in that caravan and you're educating me about books and how they broaden your mind and expand your mind and all that, and you're just this daft wee fucking racist cunt. And you know, and then he went away, right? And then a couple of years later, no, I'm not talking about fucking Lloyd Cole. A couple of years later, where was I? In the sub club. 2 years later, 3 years later, or maybe 5 years later. I was in a sub club, and it was all mobbed. It was busy, and I was dancing or something like that, right? And I bumped into. Don't say that about Lloyd Cole, right? Don't fucking say that, right? I'm not talking about fucking Lloyd Cole, right? Don't you fucking say that about Lloyd Cole. So in no way I'm going like that. See, in a way, Lloyd Cole's like that. I don't mean that. I'm talking about my... it reminded me of something that somebody said about books. Incidentally, that person, let me tell you about something else. Nothing to do with fucking him. I'm not fucking saying he's like that in a way. He's not like that at all. I don't know the cunt, but, you know, I'm not saying that at all. Years later, that guy who said that racist thing, whatever it was, I can't remember what the fuck it was. I bumped into him in the sub club, and I was ekied, and I was dancing, and I saw him. I was like, oh, there's Thingy. You know, just like, you know, a few people away from me, from where I was like dancing. I was like, oh, there's that cunt. And I was ekied. You know, sort of under the influence of fucking ecstasy. I'm like, you know, having a good time. And then eventually get this, you know, like a tap. I turned around, I went, all right. No, what did I do? It was something like that. He went like that. He went, Limmy. I was like, all right. And I remember taking pleasure in turning away from him and just continued dancing. So I didn't completely ignore him, but I went like, all right. And I sort of turned away as if, I just took a bit of fucking pleasure in it. And he tapped me again and he said, oh, how's things? I said, aye, good. You? He said something like, I'm just back from America. And he said something along the lines of, I don't know, he's back for Canada or America. Like he'd been away for quite a few years. And he actually only just got back like last week. It was something like that, he said. So for me, I just got back, honestly, like the day I came back, I've been away for like 3 years, man. Or something like that. And I did, this is what I did. I went like, all right, right. And I just fucking, turned away from him and I continued fucking dancing. And then a minute passed. And he did something like, grab my shoulder or something like that. Or, kind of like, get my attention. Like he turned me around as if, it's me, or something like that. And I honestly went like this. Like that. And he was like, I did that, I did that kind of, don't fucking touch me sort of movement while I was ekied. While I was fucking ekied. Like that, kind of, as if like, it was like a kind of, a sort of grab, like, like that, as if, were you playing it, kind of like that. And I went, he was like, and I sort of turned around and started dancing. I just thought, fuck, I fucking hate you, fuck off. While under the influence of MDMA, which should sort of overrule that fucking feeling, but no. He probably didn't know why I was like that. He's probably just like, what the fuck is up with him? He's turned into some sort of nutter. He might have thought. But for me, I don't know where it all came from. It was a few things all sort of linked with the other. I think I just thought, I fucking hate you and I hate cunts like you. Even through the eckies. Even through the eckie. So I don't know. I just have... This is really generalising. This is nothing to do with fucking Lloyd Cole, right? See what I just said there about all that? Nothing to do with Lloyd Cole. Just thinking about certain... the way I react sometimes to anybody that sort of comes across as any kind of no intellectual. I'm not like fucking Pol Pot or anything, but kind of intellectual, any sort of anything that sort of comes across like they're the kind of intellectually sort of standard, they've got the kind of standard intellectual sort of pastimes, behaviours and ways of speaking and things like that. And that makes them like superior in some sort of way, or anything that even hints at that, or anything that hints that I'm intellectual in some sort of lower way because of maybe my interests, how I fucking conduct myself, how I present my fucking thoughts, how I speak, or even just simply being stupid. It makes me think of that cunt, and then I think Lloyd Cole no getting when that person tweeted him, like saying not funny, no getting it. They're not trying to be funny. They're not trying to entertain you. They're taking the piss. I don't know. I think it's just because generally speaking, I think it's just a combination of my upbringing, my background, and the fact there's something up with me that makes me in some way clever and in another way very fucking stupid. And it's a bit of a fucking battle. It's a feeling of being stupid. And the kind of inferiority complex of the background of fucking council estate, the way they speak and things like that. And being in the presence of some people who have maybe looked down on me here and there. I put it all together. And it comes out as hatred.